You're a coach, a consultant, or an expert in something people actually need. You started making content because everyone said you need a personal brand, you need to be visible, you need to put yourself out there. You showed up, you posted, you shared what you know, you gave away value, you played the game, and something's not adding up. The views come, sometimes the likes come, occasionally the comments. Great post, thanks for sharing, come regularly. But the clients, the one who actually pay, they are not coming. Or they come slowly, inconsistently, one here, one there, nothing you can count on, nothing that feels like a business. And every content guru tells you, post more, be more consistent, give more value. The clients will come, they are not coming, or not enough. And you're starting to wonder if you are the problem. You are not. Here's what nobody tells you about using content to sell high-ticket services. The content that gets views is not the content that gets clients. There's a fundamental mismatch backed in every platform. The algorithm rewards content that performs well in the first 48 hours. That means curiosity clicks, emotional hooks, controversial takes, quick hits. The kind of content that makes someone pause their scroll, watch for 90 seconds, and move on. Your client, the one who can pay $10,000, $20,000, or $50,000, does not consume content that way. They are not scrolling for dopamine. They're scanning for signal. They're looking for someone who understands the weight they are carrying. They're not impressed by your quick wins, viral moments. They have been in business long enough to know those don't last. So when you make content designed for algorithm, short, punchy, hook heavy, you're speaking a language the algorithm loves and your client barely hears. They scroll past, not because your content is bad, because it's speaking to someone else, someone earlier in the journey, someone who still needs to be convinced. Your client is already convinced. They have been convinced for years. What they need is permission to trust you with something that matters. And permission doesn't come from 60-second reel. Let me name 3 ways your content is leaking the wrong signal. Leak 1. You're teaching, not witnessing. Most coaches and consultants make content that teaches. Here's how to fix X, 3 steps to Y, 5 mistakes you are making. This content attracts learners, people who want to absorb information, feel smarter, and move on. Learners do not become clients, they become consumers of free content. Your client doesn't need to learn, they need to recognize themselves. They need to feel that you have seen something about their situation that they haven't been able to see themselves. And that doesn't come from teaching. It comes from describing. Here's what I notice about people in your position. Like, here's the pattern that shows up right before things get expensive. Here's the question nobody's asking. Teaching says, I know something you don't. Witnessing says, I see something you're missing. One attracts learners. One attracts clients. Leak number 2. You're performing, not positioned. The platform rewards performance, energy, expression, personality. The more you bring it, the more algorithm shows you. But performance has a cost. It makes you interchangeable. There are 1,000 energetic clients with a big smile and big promises. Your client has watched 20 of them already. They all blur together. Positioning is different. Positioning is stillness. It's the ability to occupy a specific piece of ground so clearly that no one else can stand there. It's not about how loud you are. It's about how unmistakable. When you perform, you compete on energy. When you position, you compete on nothing. Because no one else is standing where you are standing. Leak number 3, optimizing for reach, not for gravity. Reach is how many people see you. Gravity is how strongly the right people are pulled toward you. Platform optimizes for reach. They want money. They want to show ads. That's why they optimized for reach. It wants you to chase views, followers, impressions. It gives you dopamine hits when the numbers go up. But reach without gravity is just noise. You can have 100,000 followers and no clients. You can have 1,000 followers and a full practice. Gravity comes from saying things that only a few people understand. From describing experiences that only a few people have had. From being willing to be uninteresting to the many in order to be unforgettable to the few. Your content is probably optimized for reach. That's what everyone teaches. But reach is the wrong metric. Gravity is the only metric that matter for someone selling high ticket services. Got it? Okay, let me show you what this looks like in practice. I've been watching a certain kind of channels. Coaches, consultants, experts who started making content because they were told to. They show up consistently. They share value. They do everything right, and their business is stuck. Not failing, just stuck. Same revenue, same client flow, same ceiling they can't break through. I went through their content, looked at the first 20 videos and then the most recent 20. And I noticed something. The early videos were rough, unpolished. The person was figuring it out in real time. They weren't performing. They were thinking out loud. The comments on those videos were, "I've never heard anyone describe it that way." This made me realize something about my own situation. How do I work with you? The recent videos were polished, structured, full of value. The person has learned how to make content, how to make better content. The comments on these videos were, "Great tips, thanks for sharing, what's the next one?" Do you see it? The more they optimized for content, the less they attracted clients. The more they learned to play the game, the more they lost the people who actually wanted to work with them. Not because the content got worse, because it got useful to the wrong people. The early content was useful to the few who could see themselves in the content. The recent content is useful to the many who want to learn. The many don't become clients, they become followers, subscribers, viewers. So what changes? Not your frequency, not your platform, not your commitment to showing up, your relationship to usefulness. Right now, we are probably trying to be as useful as possible to as many people as possible. That's what every content course teaches. Give value, be helpful, solve problems. But here's the truth, nobody tells you. Usefulness to the many is the enemy of indispensability to the few. When you try to help everyone, you become replaceable. There's always someone else giving away similar value. Always another coach with another tip. Always another consultant with another framework. When you stop trying to be useful and start trying to be recognizable to the few, something shifts. Your content gets stranger, more specific, less clickable. The wrong people scroll past faster. The right people stop scrolling entirely. They stop because they have never heard anyone describe this situation quite like that. They stop because you're not giving them a tip. You're giving them permission to trust you with something they don't even talk about with their peers. That's not a content strategy. That's a relationship strategy, like a banker. And it's the only one that works when you're selling something that costs more than a course. $10,000, $20,000, or even $50,000 worth ticket, right? Most coaches and consultants ask the wrong question about their content. They ask, how do I get more views? But the right question is, who am I trying to be unforgettable to? Because views are a vanity metric when you are selling high ticket. 1,000 views from the wrong people is just noise. 10 views from right people is a pipeline. So let me ask you directly, who are the 10 people you would most want to work with? The ones who could pay, the ones who would actually benefit, who would refer you to others like them. Now ask yourself, does your content sound like it's made for them, or does it sound like it's made for the algorithm? If they watched your last 10 videos, would they feel seen, or would they feel like they are just another member of the audience? Be honest. Most coaches realize when they answer this honestly that their content is speaking to everyone and no one at the same time. It's optimized for reach, not recognition. And that's why clients aren't coming. I'm not here to give you a new content strategy. I'm here to name something you have probably felt but couldn't articulate. The way you are making your content is perfectly designed to get you likes, comments, subscribers. It's just not designed to get you clients. That's not a failure of execution. It's a failure of alignment. You are playing a game that was never designed to produce the outcome you want. The platform wants engagement. You want clients. Those are two different things, not the same. In fact, they're often opposites. High engagement content attracts browsers. Low engagement but high recognition content attracts buyers. Platform doesn't show you the second kind because it doesn't perform in the first 48 hours. So you never see it modeled. You never learn to make it. You only see the content that performs. So you make the content that performs and you wonder why it's not working. This is the trap. Not the meta trap, the services trap. The trap where you spend years making content that builds an audience, but not a practice. You have been making content for months or years, and clients aren't showing up the way you hoped. Here's what I want you to do. Nothing. Not more, not different, not harder. Just stop for a moment and look at what you have been making. Ask yourself, who is this really for? If I'm honest, who am I trying to impress? Who am I trying to reach? And who am I actually reaching? The answers might be uncomfortable. They usually are. But discomfort is where the shift starts. Not a new strategy, not a new funnel, just a new question. What would I make if I stopped trying to be useful to everyone and started trying to be unforgettable to the few who actually need me? Sit with that. Let it land. Then decide what comes next.